friends. Today we're going to talk about our phonics focus for our new story, Half Chicken. Now, how we're introducing the phonics is going to be a little bit different. So you actually have two different phonics focuses this week. We're going to focus on some prefixes. Remember, prefixes are like little pieces you attach to the beginning of a base word that change the meaning, like re, pre, on, miss, and over, which we'll talk about. And we're also, your other phonics focus is we're going to talk about silent consonants. These are also known as ghost letters that when you read a word, they don't actually make any sound in the word. So what you need today is you need just a piece of paper, scissors, and something to write with. So first thing you're going to do is turn it on its side. And you're going to take both sides and fold them in the middle so that you almost get like a pair of doors, and you're going to crease it. What I mean by that, a pair of doors, is it's going to open like this. Okay, so I folded the two sides in the middle. Might need a grown-up's help to do that. Alright. Then what we're going to do is you're going to make two cuts. Alright, and try to make them even, where we're going to make flaps in our door, basically. Alright, so you're going to make the bottom one a little bit bigger. So first cut, second. Alright, so see, I've just put two cuts in there, so I have like little doors. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Alright, same exact thing. So now I have 6 little flaps on each side. Alright, so let's talk about our prefixes first. So our prefix, one of our prefixes is re. Remember, this is a review of prefixes. We've done this before. It goes at the beginning of a word and it changes the meaning. Now, if you add re specifically, we're going to open our flap to talk about re. It means to do again. To do again. For example, we're going to put some examples on this. Rename. Like when you make a document or something, maybe on your Google Drive, on your Chromebook, you change the name of it, you rename it. Okay? So you named it again. If you reread something, so we reread our weekly story, you might reread a book you like, it means you're reading it again. Alright, another one is remake. If you remake something, you're making it again. So movies that are remakes, they're making that movie again. Okay, you might have to remake a craft, remake some art, remake some food if it doesn't go well. So the prefix re means to do again, and as you notice, it attaches at the beginning of those base words. So the base word is name, read, make, the base or root word, remember it's called that too, and then the prefix goes in the front. Alright, the next prefix we're talking about this week is pre. Alright, so we're going to open our flap in that one as well and talk about what that means. Pre means before. Means before. For example, if you pre-treat something, you're treating it before. So you might not necessarily help with laundry around the house, but if there's ever stains or anything on clothes, often they will pre-treat them, your grown-up will pre-treat them with a spray or something before it goes in the washer to help clean it. So they're treating it before. Okay, you might pre-read something. So when we talked about pre before, we talked about reading something before you come to class. It's not something necessarily I do a lot with you at this age group, but as you get older, you'll have to pre-read a lot of stuff before you come to class or things like that, right? So it's reading before. Another example is pre-test. So often, again, not necessarily something I do at this age group, but often as you get older, sometimes, they'll assess you, or give you a test, celebration, right, before you even do the chapter, because they want to see what you know going in, because if you already know something before the chapter starts, they're not going to teach it, because it's just, they use that time for other things. So you're testing before the chapter starts, so pre, okay? So again, that prefix is attached to the beginning of the base word. So the base word is treat, read, and test. Those are the base words. Okay. The next prefix we're going to talk about is un. Un. And un can mean a couple things if I add it. Un can mean the opposite of something, the opposite of, or it can mean not. For example, unfair. If something's unfair, it's not fair, or it's the opposite of fair, right? So if I think some rules are unfair, I might think that they aren't equal to everyone, right? Or I just think it's a silly rule or unfair. If you could say unable. If I'm unable to do something, I'm not able to do it. If I'm unable to fall asleep early, I'm not able to fall asleep early. I can't do it. Okay? If I'm unhappy, I'm not happy, right? Or I'm the opposite of happy. Right? So our prefix, again, attaches to that beginning. And our base words or root words are fair, able, and happy. Alright, another prefix we're working with this week is miss. So lots of ones we're working with this week, but none of them are new, friends. We have used these before. Okay, so for miss, it's kind of similar to un, but a bit different in its own way. Okay, so miss means wrongly or incorrectly. Alright, wrongly or incorrectly is miss. So for example, I might misspell something. And if I misspell something, I've spelled it incorrectly or wrongly. We might have a miscommunication. Communication. Big word there. If I have a miscommunication, we have incorrectly communicated. Meaning I've tried to tell someone something and they didn't understand me correctly, so it was a miscommunication. Alright, and another example is misplace. If I misplace something, I've wrongly placed it or incorrectly placed it, right? Like, oh, I've misplaced it. It's not in the right place. Okay? So our prefixes are miss, M-I-S. Don't let the spell confuse you up here with the double S here. And our base words or root words are spell, communication, place. Okay, so the last prefix that we're working with this week is over. Over. Over means too much or too far. Okay? So, wires everywhere. Too much or too far. Okay? Remember, you can always pause because I go quick in the videos. So an example might be overthrow. If you're playing baseball or you're just playing catch and you throw the ball and it goes way past the person, you've overthrown it. You overthrow it because it's too far, it's too much, right? If you overpay, you've paid too much, right? If you overpay, you've paid too much. And to think of one of the vocabulary words we had a while ago, overlook. Remember, it's overlook. It means you've looked past something. You've looked too much or too far, right? Overlook. So our prefixes in this case are over at the beginning, and then we have a base word of throw, pay, and look. Okay, so those are our prefixes. Remember, prefixes attach to the beginning of a base word and change its meaning. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about for our phonics is, of course, those silent consonants, and that's what we're going to put in our last little corner. This is our phonics booklet for this week. So you have, they're called silent consonants. Remember, consonants are not vowels, so vowels are the A, E, I, O, U, and consonants are all of their letters. And sometimes those letters are silent. So we also call them ghost letters. And some of them you might already know how to read without even realizing it, just because of your experience with reading and just recognizing it that way. So let's talk about silent consonants. So there's 4 different ones we are talking about. Well, there's 4 main ones with the story, but we're also just talking about them in general, because there's actually a lot of different kinds of silent consonants. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about, you actually probably have read many times without even really realizing it, is a pair, and it's K-N, as in the word knee. And K-N, the K is what's silent, and it just sounds like an N. That's why it just sounds like knee. Alright, the next one is a W in WR, like in wrap. The W is silent because it just sounds like an R, wrap. And there's a lot of different ones we could go examples for, like for the KN, you could also say knock, knot, knife, knit. All of these words have that KN. And WR has wrong as well. So lots of different ones, okay? Another one that you might have seen before is MB, MB. Like in the word comb. Okay, that B is silent, and it just sounds like an M. Comb. You also have it in lamb. There's a B at the end of that word as well. Alright. We also have one that, now this one has a vowel in it, but it's the consonant still, it's silent. IGN. If you see IGN, like in the word sign, that G is silent, right? And you just hear it as an N. Sign. Alright. Now, there's a few others I want to talk about that are kind of tricky. 2 more. So if you have an IGH, now you guys know this one, we've talked about this one before. IGH, as in the word high, like high up. That GH together, it just sounds like a long I. Right? So like in high, right, tight, light, night. All of those, that GH just, it's silent. It's a ghost letter. You just hear the long I. Another one you guys have probably seen is when you have OW together, as in snow. That W is actually kind of silent, or is silent, because it just sounds like a long O. So some of these you've probably read already without even realizing, but these are silent consonants. So you have the KN, or whenever you have a KN beside each other, the K is silent, it just sounds like the N. When you have a WR beside each other, the W is silent, it just sounds like an R. When you have an MB beside each other, the B is silent, it just sounds like an M. When you have IGN, the G is silent, it just sounds like an N. When you have IGH, the GH just sounds like a long I, and when you have OW, the W just sounds like an O. Okay, so that's our phonics focus for this week. It's a lot, but none of it's really new. We haven't explicitly talked about silent consonants yet, but the prefixes we have, and you've read words like this before. So none of it's new, but it is a lot of focus this week. So that's what you're going to be working with for your phonics focus. All right, friends, have a great rest of your day.